Good morning, everybody. Happy Valentine's Day. It's Wednesday, February 14th, about 8:20 a.m. Hope you have given some of your loved ones a lot of love today. Um, if not, I got you. I got you with the markets at least. All right, let's get started. So, first things first. So last night I was up past my bedtime and I saw BTC kind of grinding and chopping its way up. I had done some analysis on this yesterday in our private Discord here, and we talked about how BTC had kind of reached this pretty low critical level, right around 48 and a half, 48.4K. My general thought process was that when we were down here, I think like it would have been a pretty good long. Keep your stop a little bit deeper, or if you wanted to have a deeper stop somewhere down here. And more importantly, what you ideally wanted to see from this particular juncture is that you wanted to see a consolidation from here, break back up into this range. See this little range that was forming before we broke down from? You wanted to see price claim back into that range. And once we started to see that, you started to develop this funnel that held this low, and then that led to this, and then eventually led to this. Now, again, I was fortunate enough to be up at night. Again, US time zones, you generally don't get these kinds of moves in the late US night session, but I was lucky enough to catch it. And I was lucky enough to ride a good chunk of it. So I gave, sort of the first initial trigger down here. Then I gave my official trade that I'm taking. Now, again, nothing that I provide in this community is investment advice. Um, I'll always do your research. I'm just here to show you guys exactly what I'm doing in the market. So our Discord members are well aware that they're just here to hear my insights and my thoughts on the market. Do not copy trade me. This is not, financial advice or anything, right? So what I did was I just let the community know that I'm taking this trade around 49,850, which happened to be right around this little consolidation area, and then boom, right? Sometimes you get lucky in timing. Sometimes you could just feel the momentum in the air, right? When I started seeing this happening sometime in the US afternoon session, I said, okay, well, if this low holds, I'm probably going to long. And then I just happened to come back into the market, checking out my desk in the middle of the night. And then we were already up here. I said, well, that looks like a pretty good long. You long here, stop here, which is, slightly tight stop, slightly deeper stop, and much deeper stop, right? And we just did this. And I said, okay, great. So I had let the community know that my initial target level is around 52K. Why 52K? It happens to be a pretty key daily level that reaches back all the way from December 2021 back here. That were the highs that sort of led to this sell-off. So I would figure that we go into that level and bang into it, right? And I think like structurally, I think we're still going to hit it. Doesn't mean that, we can't pull back and then go. But I do think that 52K is at minimum my first target. Of course, we could exceed that. We could go a little bit deeper than that. Some of the deeper targets I have is things like 54K up here, which again, 52K and 54K is really not that far apart, right? So point is, that's kind of what I have my eye on. Even on a weekly basis, like I think you could stretch it a little bit deeper. Like you could start talking about maybe 57K up here, which is a much obviously higher target, but I think it's attainable. I think we got capped right around 57, 58K a bunch of times on a weekly basis. You had some, over and then down, and again, some excess over and then down, right? So this tells me that it may not be a perfect number of 57K, could exceed to like 58 or something, but point is that's kind of the level beyond 52K that you're going to be looking at up here. Okay. So that's my general thought process on BTC. Now, luckily, again, I pointed this trade out in real time. I got a little tired waiting for the target to hit at 52K. Again, late at night, I don't really like holding trades into the night nowadays just because the US session, it can be very volatile. Like by the time I wake up, sometimes like price has done this and then completely collapse back down inside. And I hate doing that because the trailing stops in crypto are not that useful at times when the volatility is so high. Because had I moved my trailing stop from entry to just about here, this is not really a worthwhile trade for me, right? So what was worthwhile was I captured the extra almost, 1R, which is this whole chunk. And I got out around like 51 and a half, 51.6. I said, all right, well, that's it. Let's get out, close out that position and capture this 3.3% profit and call it a night. Right, so we got out with a solid move, 51 and a half average. And that was a really good trade, right? Solid profit. For just happening to stumble into a trade in the middle of the night, I call that a huge win. Now you could make the argument and say, oh, well, why aren't you just holding up to 54 or 58K? Well, the reality is sometimes you have to think of your own sanity in these trades, right? Like, do I value thinking about this trade in the overnight session and thinking about it, for no reason? Or do I just cut it, take the profit, enjoy, come back in the US morning session and then see what's up, right? So I obviously value the latter, which is my sleep, and then just, relaxing and seeing how the US session is going to go. So that is how that trade played out fantastically well, in my opinion. Now, the other trade, well, this one is not really official. I didn't even take a trade really. I just happened to point it out. And I happened to point it out at, let me see where I pointed it out. I think it was altcoin analysis. Yeah. So we were trading somewhere around 82. When I start looking at it, currently price is at 88, right? So we have approximately two. So we're up about, nice 7%, right? 7% from the move that I had initially pointed out. Now, I am kind of the opinion that say is a little bit different than, let's just say, BTC or Ethereum or even something like Solana, right? I think it's been in this, let me see where my drawing tool is. So basically since like beginning of the year, right? It's been in this little block. And to me, this block, if it leads to upside continuation, then it becomes obviously a form of reaccumulation before another markup, right? And if it gets marked up again, then I think we're going to $1 and then maybe $1.50. Right? Typically, like you don't have reaccumulation ranges like this only to like squeeze up 5-7% and then roll over. I mean, of course, that could happen, right? If the rest of the market is shitting the bed and the pressure is extremely high on say, and it also starts coming down. That I can't do anything about. But if this happens to be a local reaccumulation, if the rest of the market, let's just say BTC is fine and BTC continues to chug along to 52 and 53 and 55, right? If BTC is doing that, then I think say should kind of make its way higher. Same thing with Solana. I had also pointed out Solana, and I actually got into a Solana long trade at the same time I pretty much got into the BTC long trade. It just so happened to be again that Solana was coiling up in this particular area. And I said, well, that's a pretty good risk to reward trade. for me to basically get in. So basically, remember, this was a sell-off that happened yesterday. This was a pop back up. This is a higher low that I get to buy because my stop is basically here, or a deeper stop here. And I'm buying this, which again, in my opinion, was going to break up, and it did. And I captured that move. Now, obviously, Solana went a little bit higher than I expected. I was hoping for 120. I cut the trade at approximately like 115 and a half. So 113 to 115 and a half, 2.2% profit. Again, for just happening to stumble in the middle of the night, my time, and walking into a good trade, that's good for me, right? And I get to take a little nap and come back with the US session, which is about to open in 1 minute. And we get to see how that market is going to open and impact crypto, right? So sometimes I value things differently when it comes to judgment in the market versus how other people kind of see, their assertion of what exactly is going to happen in the market. And they continue to bid that, no matter what time it is, what day it is. For me, my life is more than just putting on a trade and waiting for the trade to pan out. I kind of have other things to juggle. I work in venture capital. I help a lot of startup projects in crypto, specifically one, Cheetah Fund Games, which you guys are aware of. I'm also working on a couple of other things in the DePin world and the NFT world, which I'll be talking about in the next few weeks. So the point is that I like to look at markets through different lenses and in different time frames without too much, external stress. And what the market tells me right now is, well, it's continuation, right? I can't really fight that. It would be unwise to fight it. However, and just real quick on Cheetah, yes, we are still working on Cheetah. Yes, it is still a project that is work in progress. Yes, the price has come down precipitously, but the point is that these projects, as I've told y'all before, my friends and I, we own a lot of the float, right? So for the most part, it's not going to go to zero unless the project literally turns out to be a scam, which I don't think it is. I talk to the team almost every other day. We are working on deploying the play to earn game, hopefully soon. I don't really know when it's going to pan out, to be honest, because play to earn smart contracts, trying to embed them with the Cheetah tokens, as well as partnerships that we're working on with other communities. It's a little bit tougher than we generally thought. But either way, we are still working hard on the project, and I just want you guys to be aware of that. Okay. Now, other than that, there are other tokens in the market that I am extremely bullish on. One of them is Whales. And Whales is basically like your OTC pre-market points style platform. Again, if you're not aware of it, I think you should definitely check it out. I had Whales, and again, all of this is documented in our private Discord community. And I talked about buying Whales. Let me see here. So Whales I had bought on average. I actually bought even before this one right here. Let me see. Yeah, there it is. So when Whales was trading less than $1, so like 97, 98 cents, I picked it up because my thought process was this is such a unique platform. There's no way that I see this thing fundamentally priced anything lower than like a 50 to $100 million market cap. However, the market was kind of a little bit too exuberant, a little bit too stretched, and I was kind of willing to side with my let's just say slightly bearish thesis, which was we were entering February in a slightly more, bearish posture, if you will. February, March, April, I generally like to be a little bit more cautious, especially because we had such bullish months, as you can see, since October, right? So that was making me a little bit more careful. And, if you kind of look in the spot market here in the spot section, I bought whales at approximately $1,250. Again, I don't really disclose dollar amounts. Sometimes I just keep it just blank, like I don't really let people know. But this time I just want to let people know, like, hey, these things are slightly more risky. I'll just let you guys know the dollar amount. And then once the price started to appreciate, I said, all right, well, let me just dump in a little bit more because it's validating my thesis. We're up to $1.40, right? And so I just added, another like 3 or 4K into it, total 5,000. And then my average happened to be like 120, 125. And then I basically kind of, saw that the price moved up very aggressively all the way to $3. And my general thought process at that point is whenever I can lock in like 55, 75, 100% gains, I am not afraid to take profit. I don't care what anyone else thinks. I don't care if I've said that I see this at 100 million or 200 million. I pull the trigger because if I want to take profit, I'm going to take profit because I feel like there's other factors at play. I just feel good about taking profit. You guys are more than free to hang on to your trade because guess what? I got out at three something. It went all the way up close to $4, pulled back down to about $2, went back again to 360. But to me, like this is maybe either a larger distribution or a reaccumulation range. I'm not really sure. Either this could get marked up again, or this could kind of grind down for maybe several days or weeks and then push back up. But I'm still bullish on the platform overall. And I think it's incredible platform with a very unique product, something very different, right? So yeah, incredibly bullish on whales. SNS. So this is AI product. If you haven't heard my thoughts lately on why I'm kind of the opinion that AI is best suited for Solana, just check out my Twitter because I often talk about this quite a bit. I think AI best suited on Solana because it's faster throughput, high performance blockchain, really cheap fees, tons of user access. So yeah, I think Solana altcoins that are AI geared are going to do extremely well. And I will say boldly that I have no interest in buying Ethereum based AI coins. It just like doesn't make sense to me. I'm sure um I'm sure that some will do well in the future. I'm not closed off to that, but I just generally think this is my thought process. Okay. So that's kind of why I'm very bullish on SNS. Haven't quite picked up a position. I was really waiting for a pullback. And we'll see if I get it. I really, really would like somewhere down here, even if it's like a quick like that'd be great. But price is a little bit extended here, and I don't really want to chase because if you kind of see this, clearly some big buyers stepped up. Within 4 or 5 days, it's up 225%. We mentioned SNS first back in like middle of December. Um, and you can check out again, all this information in our Discord, right? So yeah, that's one of my things. And then ovals, you guys know I'm bullish on, but then aside from ovals, Ghost token is kind of similar with the SPL 22 standard that's coming up. I bought like maybe 2K of this token. Again, slightly higher risk. I always try to let people know that these things are extremely volatile, extremely violent in their movements up and down. So please do your own research. None of it is investment advice. And yeah, I mean, that's, And of course, like the RLB position I've already spoken about since last year. I bought RLB way back in July of last year when it was literally trading, barely at 0.07. And I was bullish on it then, I'm bullish on it now because you just can't beat the metrics a little bit. Like it's a phenomenal sort of degen exchange. Um, these metrics of 24-hour revenue, futures revenue, yearly, year-over-year revenue, and how they use their revenue slash profits to burn their own token, which they've already burned 40% of the total float. I just think it's very underrated and hard to find platforms like that that can just so easily do that. So yeah, I mean, I'm definitely really bullish on Rollbit, and I do have a nice size position in it. So again, not investment advice, just my general thoughts. All right. Um, that's pretty much it. You know, everything else I talk about, like I think one thing I'm still very careful about is I think CPI data came out, inflation data came out, and I think it is still relatively high. Um, when it's high like this, I think Fed has more of a reason to keep the pressure on rates to stay high or maybe even raise them further and not have rate cuts. Um, and I think that puts downward pressure on stock prices. I think that puts downward pressure on, crypto and crypto related assets. So yeah, I do think that, you know, you need a point of caution in some of these things. And I think, we will see how the next few weeks go. I gotta say, headed into the end of the month in March and April, I don't think I'm as positive. Yes, I won't short the market. Like I'll take longs all day if you give them to me like this, but I'm not willing to short. But yeah, my overall thought process is that this is a problem. Um, I don't think enough people have priced in sort of the right tail risk of catalysts like this being a sell the news event, turning of the market, turning of the momentum, the sentiment, et cetera, et cetera. And so I do think that you should definitely think about the implications of this. I really do think that we're coming to a pretty critical point in BTC, whether it's 52K or 56K, like, I don't know. I mean, personally, I think the market is extended and yeah, next few months, I see no reason why we can't be in a larger consolidation range, maybe even wick down a little bit further. Same thing with, like I've told y'all, I think Solana is going to go down to like 50 to $60 at some point. Now, obviously, that looks really dumb, clearly, because that's, almost a 50% drop from where we are. But, that's just my thoughts on the market. Like, I just don't think people are prepared for very awful scenarios like that. And it it always helps to be prepared for the worst case scenario, in my opinion. So yeah, just look out for it. Just be cautious. I don't think enough people are talking about it. You should also listen to people much smarter than myself. Listen to the Blockworks Macro Forward Guidance podcast. And this is a good podcast that I'm like maybe halfway into. It's called The Economic Risk No One is Paying Attention to, the reacceleration. Basically, he's saying the reacceleration of the economy slash inflation and what kind of risk that brings to the Fed rate cycle, hiking cycle, as well as downward pressure on US equities. And so my general thought process for the next, few months headed into April and maybe May and June is this kind of like sell off. I think a 10% sell off is really not that bad, in my opinion. Um, I think we've overextended to the upside, and I think, maybe a mean reversion is due. And then from there, end of the year, headed into beginning of next year, we can do this kind of move, right? Possibly, possibly. So yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all I got. All right, folks. That's it. Take care. Good luck, and we will catch you soon. Cheers.